You are now part of a social experiment.
See now where my limit is. Only got no.
You are, doing your job, as a forensic pathologist, and here comes this Hall of Fame former NFL player, Mike Webster, and you're not even familiar with football like that. So everybody's excited in the office, like we got Mike Webster, blah, blah. And, you are the one that is going to examine what happened to Mike Webster. So you open everything up and everything looks normal. So, what was it exactly that told you like there's got to be more than just what I'm seeing for you to say like let's look at this under a microscope?
So that day, I saw myself in Mike Webster. His life was like my life. He struggled with depression, all types of symptoms. And people were making fun of him on TV. But people were very dismissive of him and blaming him for his symptoms. So that was the first step, empathy. So when I performed his autopsy, I said to Mike Webster, Mike, just like I've used my knowledge to vindicate myself, I'll use my knowledge to vindicate you. But I don't think this was your fault. So when I opened up his brain and it looked normal, I had made a promise to him that I'll get to the bottom of this. So that was why I fixed his brain. So you see an amalgamation of faith.
And I want to add too, you paid for it. That's like how, they were like, you can't do this. Like, this is Mike Webster. We're not going to pay for this. Like, you're like, you know what? I'll pay for it. Man, I
was a doctor making good money, struggling with depression, no life. So I had some expendable cash.
So that takes an extreme deal of confidence, man, to say like, you know what, you don't want me to look at his brain, you don't want me to examine it, but I know there's something more and I'm going to find it and I'll pay for it. I'll back it up myself. So that's super important. So,
well, what happened was, in those days, I was almost in this state of hopelessness. With depression is a very bad disease. Mm-hmm. And working on Mike Webster's brain and other subsequent cases that came was a source of life for me. So, like at the beginning, I said, when you have adversities in your life, it may not always be completely negative. Even there may be some nuisance value in it. So embrace whatever challenges you have in your life, no matter how bad, and try to create some type of equity.
Right.
Equitize your difficulties, your pain. Create value from your pain, whatever it may be. You have that mindset, you do great things.
Indeed. All right. So you find out that Mike Webster's brain is, has a lot of issues. You connected to a punch drunk syndrome from boxing. Is that what it's
Yeah.
called?
So when I saw the changes, then we knew about punch drunk in boxers, dementia pugilistica.
Right.
And then dementia pugilistica was said to be a type of amyloid, AMYLOID, amyloid disease. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a type of protein in the brain. The abnormal protein that accumulated was amyloid, essentially. Mm-hmm. And it affected only boxers. So when I saw the changes, I went back to the library and I searched. In those days, we did not have the internet we have today. In those days, you still had to go physically to the library and photocopy the published articles.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, in those days, they didn't have scanners. You just had to photocopy, So I researched to the time of Hippocrates. That was how far I went.
But that was for a reason, man.
I'll stay up sometimes up to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., catch 3-4 hours of sleep and go back to work at 7.
Wow.
So I did not see any report. But guess what? I thought my depression was getting worse then, that I was becoming delusional. So I had to go show what I was seeing to 2 other doctors. They found what I was seeing. And one of the doctors actually said, Bennet, this is new. This has not been reported before. And he was a very senior doctor.
Right.
He confirmed what I thought. Then I was taking classes preparing for business school at Carnegie Mellon University. So then I had some sense of branding, okay? And I said to myself, Bennet, whatever you've noticed in this brain, don't just publish it as an intellectual curiosity. Give it a name. Give it a name, okay? Give it a name that is generic, that has been used before. And because it's a generic name, if down the road you're proven wrong, you could defend yourself because it's a generic name.
Smart.
So I came across, in the literature, I came across about 21 names of diseases, brain trauma. And chronic traumatic encephalopathy was the best for me because it was a very generic terminology. Chronic means long-term. Traumatic means related to trauma. Encephalopathy means a bad brain. And then it had a very good acronym, CTE. In those days, if you were to Google CTE, maybe you get 1 or 2 hits. Today, Google CTE to crash your computer.
Man.
So I branded it. Again, my multifaceted education helped me a lot. I have a master's in public health in epidemiology. So my knowledge of epidemiology was actually what helped me to develop a strategy on how I could introduce the disease to the broader global environment.
Right.
So in epidemiology, when you encounter a new disease or a new infection, an epidemic, when you see the first case, you report it as a sentinel case. So that was why I published Mike Webster's paper as a case report. Okay? Then you see more, you publish sentinel cases. You don't have about 3, 4, 5 cases. You don't publish a case series. So that was the strategy I adopted.
Wow.
And it was very successful.
Yes, indeed, man. And we're talking about Nobel Prize winning work.
Oh, no.
I believe this is Nobel Prize winning work because that information is saving the lives of countless thousands of people that did not know that playing a game, like, what do you mean football? Like, you mean they're getting it from the little league? Like, from the little league, like those kids playing tackle, like, can get brain injuries, like. And wait a minute, like, you got your bell rung, like, you got to be tough and get back. Like, so just getting that information, like, wait a minute, this is not going to do you justice 20, 30 years from now. This is what's going on, right? Those NFL players that are feeling this, at 50, 40, 50, 60 years old, they're not crazy. This is what's happening. So I believe this is Nobel Prize winning work, but the NFL did not. So
what was exceptional and distinctive wasn't the discovery itself, but my positioning and my strong defense of science and the truth. I did not look at science as scientificity, just science for the sake of science.
Right.
I looked at it as science that can enhance the humanity of mankind.
I think that's how it's supposed to be.
Okay. So I defended that very radically. I stood by the science in spite of everything the NFL did. The NFL actually wanted my paper retracted. They accused me of cooking up data. They pretty much said I was a criminal doctor, dangerous.
Voodoo doctor too.
Yes. And what really surprised me was that even the top doctors in America, even till today, and when you look, many of these are older white folks. So I asked myself, is race playing a role here?
I believe yes.
Is race playing a role here? But I did not care. Truth is the truth, no matter who you are.
Yes.
And in my research, I discovered that American football players were suffering in silence. They had speaking for them. I remember I came from a corrupt country. I hate corruption. So I saw some trend, like in my country, where a group of powerful people are trying to develop alternative truths. Alternative truths to serve their own selfish interests.
Right.
So I refused to stand there, and I think that was what was exceptional. And the American Medical Association gave me the Distinguished Service Award, which is the highest award any physician can receive.
Well deserved, well deserved.
And I was told I'm one of the youngest doctors that have received it. Sports Illustrated stated that after 2000, that Omalu is the single individual who has most influenced football. I've received 3 honorary PhDs. Okay, so it's a combination of the discovery and my determined effort to stand by the science.
So every day I'm going hard. I'm talking business, bank accounts, and credit cards. And somehow we defeat the odds and making sure that no one starves illegal or you had a